AI will make people lose their jobs.
Like they had like 1 million users in just 5 days. So why did ChatGPT get so popular? And it
The first successful, I would believe, the first successful AI sample that was prepared was for solving the codes uh, of the World War II.
so do you see new roles coming up when the AI things is mainstream
Yes,
and people have it?
obviously. So one new term that has been recently coined is prompt engineering. Quantum computing will open a lot of new spaces. Even in physics, there are a lot
Mhm.
of simulations and calculations that we are holding back as of now.
Okay.
That are just on the paper because we cannot
Mhm.
simulate them. So I
Correct.
guess even that amount of high-end simulations we will be
Mhm.
able to see on them.
He came out and said that the Google AI has said that it is sad and lonely at the same time, and then it also has humor to it.
Complete robots
Yeah.
that can assist us in a lot of our work. Uh,
Mhm.
that there is a time, I guess, of 7 8 years or maybe more, I guess. So they might not turn against us. It will be just humans
Mhm.
turning them against each other.
Uh, like I remember an interview from Elon Musk where he said that the first man to go on moon was 50 years back from where they are right now, right? And they had to pour in a lot of capital, get the right people motivated, so that they can have reusable rockets. And that is coming 50 years after having the first man going
Correct,
on moon.
correct,
So I
correct.
think this is that phase for AI where there are right people, there are motivated people, and
Correct.
there is people who are pouring in capital at the same time.
True. Just imagine when personal computers were introduced.
Correct. Yeah.
This is that time for AI.
Welcome to the podcast. I know, like you have been busy because, of course, it's again the month of March, right? Everybody is busy
True.
in this month, right? But still, you are taking the time to do this. I really appreciate it, right? So, coming to the part, so you have been working as a head of AI, right, at Avenir, and I know it's a source to pay solution, and it's quite AI driven. And when it says source to pay solution, it is a complex industry, right? And you are integrating AI with it. So how does AI work there? And for our audience, what exactly is source to pay solution?
Cool. Okay, so basically, the source to pay solution, like simplifying the process that, let's say, in this world, we can divide the business in these two categories. Let's say one is the purchasing cycle and other is the sales cycle. That is, let's say, one cycle is there is a complete cycle of selling. The CRM industry that
Mhm.
we have the quote is formed, and then the complete selling process is there, and then we
Correct.
have the purchasing process. Now in
Right.
purchasing process, it might start from an RFP or a e-tendering, or and
Mhm.
then basically the vendor onboarding happens. And once the vendor
Right.
onboarding happens, then basically uh, there are certain services that are being consumed. And once the
Correct.
services are being consumed and invoice is being raised,
Yeah.
once and in fact in between there is contracting that is very important that happens.
Mhm.
The contract is being signed between both of the parties, uh,
Right.
and then after the contract is signed, the services are being consumed, invoice is being raised, and then
Right.
the payment cycle complete. So we have actually a suite that tends
Mhm.
to fit in some of these parts. Like we have
Okay.
an RFP solution. We are
All right.
into contracting. That is our main domain. That
Right.
is, we are very heavily, our contracting solution is actually very much elaborated, and
Mhm.
it has a beautiful life cycle, complete life cycles that should be there. And
Right.
then after that, we have accounts payable thing, wherein
Right.
basically automatically AI based invoice
Mhm.
processing takes place, what we call
Right.
as zero touch invoice processing.
Right.
So these are some of the important small pieces that we fit into this whole cycle. Although there are more things. I mean, this complete whole cycle is complete huge. But yeah, I mean, we
Yeah.
being now we have completed 4 years. So these are the solutions that we came up with, and then on top of that, our solutions are. on ServiceNow platform. So
Mhm.
we kind of leverage some of the important platform features of ServiceNow. That is,
Okay.
it has a very powerful workflow, the
Mhm.
dynamic forms, and the deployment hassle is not there. So a lot of things. It becomes the solution becomes delivering a solution becomes very fast. The
Very fast.
implementation
Yeah.
cycle is slow for the customer. And then all of the
Yeah.
AI, we have built an AI layer on top of
Mhm.
it. That is our complete AI layer we have built. Because from ServiceNow, there are not many solutions that are very so advanced
Correct.
solutions as of now. It being
Correct.
a platform, obviously. So we have built a lot of solutions on invoicing. We have built an AI, complete AI,
Mhm.
that
Okay.
automatically reads the invoice and performs the zero touch invoice processing. We have a contracting AI that
Mhm.
actually extracts the metadata from the
Right.
contracts that you are so basically summarizing the contract automatically, because reviewing the contract. So
Correct.
basically
Yeah.
when any contract comes, uh, whenever there is a new contract, reading for a lawyer 70-60 page
Mhm.
contract is a huge task. So
Yeah.
using our
Definitely.
application, using our reviewing thing, it becomes easy. And then we also extract obligations.
Okay.
We also extract the obligations part from it. So these are some of the AI things that we are doing
Right.
on top of
Right.
Sales now.
So, like this brings me back to like we have designed SaaS platforms, right? And we know that when we deal with such industry, there is a mix of skilled labor as well, and there's a mix of unskilled labor. Those who don't are not that tech savvy, right? And we had a very hard time like designing a platform for them because they don't know how a simple gadget works, and having them on the dashboard on a huge platform that has so many functionality, it's already complex. So how do you make sure that they also understand? Once you get into AI, the understanding gets even more complex, right? That how everything functions and everything. So how do you make sure that you cater both the people and
Yeah.
you have like
So
a
so one thing, yeah, yeah, correct. So basically, this was a challenge, and that internally we have been brainstorming it a lot.
okay,
And since we are selling a solution, so if you see,
hmm,
there are companies that sell technology, you
right,
know for an
right,
instance, if you see postman is a kind of small wrapper above technology.
correct,
There are, and then if you see selenium for
hmm,
selenium web drivers and for testing automation, that's a
right,
technology. That is.
correct,
And then there are companies who are selling actually complete solutions. That
okay,
is, we have identified that there is a problem, and
hmm,
we will actually give you a complete solution, right?
okay,
Now, in AI also, we tend to provide a complete pre-trained model for your solution, right?
okay,
So basically, let's say when we come with any customer, so any customer has agreed that they are going to take our services, let's say for
yeah,
contract lifecycle management. So
hmm,
we will understand their whatever the requirements they have, and our
yeah,
product is very much configurable. That is, hence I was saying that this is the advantage of being on service now. So
yeah,
our implementation life cycle reduces a lot. And then
okay,
our AI is already pre-trained, means customer will not have
okay,
to do anything. The max
that's
customer
great,
will
yeah,
have to do is, let's say, yeah, the max customer will have to do is we will have to tweak our model
hmm,
for that customer requirement. Just tweaking is
yeah,
required, not retraining, and all that cycle will not be required.
understood, yeah,
So that maximum goes to like 25-30 days, right? And
yeah,
then customer directly sees the results, and at
okay,
max he just has to do is that, this is not performing as I expected, and I will
yeah,
give you the feedback. So that feedback
okay.
enters our model. We monitor it. So this is how we have managed it.
Okay, that's great. Like from user point of view, like they have to do the least and the product is adapt as per their requirement, right? So that's great.
True, true,
So
true.
coming to this part where in last 2 years the development that we have seen in the AI industry is like haven't seen this before, right? So what do you think was a major factor that in last 2 3 years so much advancement and so much development has poured in, especially in this particular category?
So this is a very interesting question,
Yeah,
and I love to answer it. So
yeah.
basically, what has happened is that, see, AI is an arena of mathematics, right?
Okay.
And
Hmm.
there are a lot of mathematicians who have done the hard work back since, when I read some history of some of the algorithms, they
Yeah,
go back to 1910 and even 1900, right?
yeah.
Now, the problem then was that obviously earlier there was no machine, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Then the first sample of our the first successful, I would believe, the first successful AI sample that
Hmm.
was prepared was for solving the codes uh, of the World War II that helped in.
Okay.
Uh, I am not getting the name of the scientist exactly. There's a wonderful movie based on him. So
Is that the Vinci code?
no, 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 not the Da
No, right?
Vinci Code, but so basically, the Germans used to send complex codes, and then he built a machine so that he could
Okay.
automatically decode all of those codes.
So that was the first telephone
Kind of.
working before Alexander Graham Bell came in.
Uh, no, no, no. It was in for World War II. The time
Right,
actually
right.
goes for 1940s.
Yeah, yeah. I get. I
So
think
there is a very,
I
I mean,
remember the movie, but yeah, I get the movie, but I'm not able to just
right,
collect the name.
right.
I'm just searching for that.
So it is basically Turing, right?
Mm-hmm.
The Enigma code that was by so the Turing,
Mm-hmm.
obviously. So the Turing machine, even before that, we have Van Neumann model and stuff like that.
Right.
Now, basically, Turing machine was kind of the first good enough working model that we had seen,
Mm-hmm.
and then the hardware. Then basically, we saw the personal computers coming up, and then
Right.
there was a limitation because these mathematical calculations are very complex.
Correct. Yeah.
They are very compute intensive. So as the
Mm-hmm.
hardware progressed, basically as
Yeah.
the CPU, GPU progressed, and we
Yeah.
saw that these algorithms started solving a lot of problems, new problems,
Mm-hmm.
right? And
Yeah.
along with that, obviously, we had actually come across a lot of new architectures, lot of new research,
Right.
especially this transformer thing that happened in 2017. The
Seven. Yeah.
transformer is all we need. uh, Research paper was released, and then after
Yeah.
that, the industry has changed drastically. We are
Okay.
seeing this chat
Can you
GPT thing.
can you elaborate on it? Transformer part. What exactly it is?
Okay, so
The research paper.
basically earlier, we had these chatbots thing. I was playing with these chatbots even earlier back in
Yeah.
2014 and 15.
Right.
But
Right.
then the problem was that, if the text was too huge, it used to
Mm-hmm.
lose the context of the conversation. The chatbots, I mean,
Okay.
if I'm talking
Correct.
of something, they would lose the context completely. Then basically there was this new architecture that was proposed back in
Mm-hmm.
2017. It was basically, technically, it was multi-head attention architecture.
Yeah.
And so basically this architecture was kind of revolutionary, and this
Okay.
architecture actually helped us in building a lot of new further architectures, wherein the
Yeah.
system, or our basically system, is able to understand human language and respond to that human language in a much efficient
Mm-hmm.
manner. Now, chatbot is
Okay.
one such example. There are many such. For an instance,
Use
we are
cases.
seeing that we provide a description, it would generate an image for us, right? Or we
Yeah.
provide a description, it would generate an article, generating an
Correct.
video for us, or PPT for us, right? So
Yeah.
these kind of advancements then basically took place very rapidly
Yeah.
based on
Right.
these architectures. So, and hence even the hardware thing has, we are having good hardwares now, although running a good AI requires, even it is costly, and I believe in
Correct. Yeah.
future the cost can come down. but yes, I mean, they are, so basically our hardware is, and then AWS coming in, Google Cloud
Mhm.
Azure coming in, for
Correct.
companies, even startups are able to access machines that are having huge amount of GPU, that are having
Correct.
120 GB of memory and stuff like that, to run some
Mhm.
POCs and to run huge models. It
Yeah.
became just as easy as just a snap of the finger.
Okay.
So
Correct. Yeah.
these are the things, that have actually helped in democratizing the AI, what we call actually.
Okay.
So
So
everyone can
the since you're talking about GPUs, this mobile devices, they do like their hardware is limited, right? Because you have such a small device and you have to have a lot of functionalities there. But then this when this smart voice assistants came in, so we have Siri, we have Google also, right? So are they also require a like a strong GPU to run on this cell phone devices and everything?
No, so basically, most of the times the model training requires GPU, most of the times.
Okay.
But model
Okay.
running,
So
we call it model rendering,
mhm.
requires smaller amount of hardware capacity.
Okay.
Training
So
is the more intensive job.
what what we have on the phones is already a trained model, so that's why it's consuming
It
less.
might, yes, it might be a trained model, and then there are specific frameworks that are mobile trained. And then
Yeah.
at many times, we are using uh, an app. That app sends a
Hmm.
request to the cloud. The
Okay.
processing is happening on cloud, and then it might send you back the results. So that is also happening in many cases. We do have
Okay.
like
Understood.
mobile TensorFlow is there, and we
Yeah.
can make small models using PyTorch also. So we can do that.
So, and do you also believe that the capital that has been poured in the AI industry in last couple of years, that is also a big factor in the that is helping in the R&D and everything? Because if you
Yes, of
see,
course.
yeah. So, what is the like average cost of handling such a huge project? Like, if you even if you want to do an R&D, the funding has to be huge, right? So, what is the cost
Uh,
involved there?
so it depends actually. See, this is a
Mhm.
very tricky question, and
Yeah.
since at Avenir, I myself had been keeping a very close eye at how the cost should be there with the
Right.
AI. And then my always priority has been running AI on low cost,
Correct. Yeah.
obviously. Now, if at all, yes, if the conscious decisions are taken, a lot of money can be saved,
Okay.
right? I mean,
Right.
there is the same model that can cost, that can run on mobile hardware,
Mm-hmm.
right? And
Mm-hmm.
then there is the same model, if not trained properly, if the knowledge is not, the guy is not having the proper knowledge, uh,
Right.
you know then he may end up running it on a costlier hardware, right?
Correct.
So this decision has to be, architecture has to be very consciously made, that
Okay.
how. And then it also, basically for startups, basically the point is that first we make a MVP, right?
Mm-hmm.
So in
Right.
MVP you don't need to pour in that heavy models. For MVP
Correct.
we
Yeah.
can just demonstrate that we have a technology that works, right? And
Right.
then as the customers agree or the investors agree, as we go forward, then we
Mm-hmm.
can gradually increase the compute power, GPUs and stuff like that.
Correct.
So yeah, I mean, from the start itself you won't uh, need that very heavy things.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously if you're not building something that is completely groundbreaking, that is completely
Yeah.
new to the market, then obviously
Yeah.
you would need very costly hardwares. But yeah, I mean, for
Right.
most of the industries. And then we need to understand one thing, that AI, 70% of the AI that we talk is actually
Yeah.
predictive analysis,
Okay.
predicting the inventory, predicting the stocks, and
Okay.
prediction of some kind of variable or parameter is there,
All
right?
right. Mm-hmm.
And then there are 30% that have jumped, and now this 30% is increasing slowly, that are into really the tasks like language understanding, computer
Correct.
vision, these
Yeah.
kind of complex tasks. So predictive AI doesn't require that huge compute, whereas
Okay.
these NLP tasks, CNN tasks, and especially generative tasks. When you are
Right.
generating something out of nowhere, that requires
Mhm.
huge amount of compute.
Right, right. And since we're talking about generative technology, like I think one of the most prominent product that has come in was Chat GPT, right? And so that was text generation, and then we that was from OpenAI, right? And then we also had the image generation that was again from OpenAI, right? So why did ChatGPT, like they had like 1 million users in just 5 days? So why did ChatGPT get so popular and it is still drawing a lot of attention, right? So
See,
why?
the
Yeah,
idea is all about democratizing AI. Like, you may have lots of technologies that scientists might be containing to themselves, you know,
right.
but when it is actually when all the people around and everyone is able to access to it, when a
Hmm.
normal people, student, and any tech worker or a non-tech guy is able to use
Right.
the technology, that we call democratizing. This has
Hmm.
happened, this powerful engine was released. Now basically GPT-3 was already there, and
Yeah.
we did have a look. I did play with the demos of GPT-3 and stuff like that, and it was great, right?
Okay.
But then this chat GPT opened, added one more advanced layer on top of that. A
Right.
huge amount of training was done, like millions,
Hmm.
multi-millions of documents were fed to the AI, and
Okay.
that actually led to, you know, this this Chat GPT could be used for various tasks, right?
Correct.
It can be
Yeah.
used for writing poem. You can casually chat with it. You can ask about any fact, right?
Right.
So people started finding their applications,
Correct.
as per their own convenience, and
Correct.
it
Yeah.
is easy to use. I mean, it is, there is no complexity to use,
Exactly.
you know,
Exactly. I think the
right?
learnability curve there is so thin
Right.
that people don't have to adapt to it, and they can just likely use it like
Correct.
any other chat bot, right?
True,
And
true, true.
like even so I am generating a lot of content from ChatGPT right now. So from blogs to doing small research from users perspective, and then I have my developer friends who are generating codes from there. So the use cases are so vast that it's covering a major
True,
industries, and so people are just jumping in and using it.
true,
So
true, true.
so how do you, like, in it has answers to everything, right? I can write a poem, I can come up with a lot of different ideas that would have taken me longer time. So how do you keep the genuine creativity there, and you differ it from a creativity that has come out from an AI? So I can sell an idea from an AI and tell that it's my idea, right? I can always do that. So how do you differ
Yeah,
between these two people?
I mean, see, that is going to happen anyhow, and
Yeah.
then
Hmm.
basically one such problem that we are currently struggling with is the content.
Yeah.
The rate at which content is being generated, right?
Hmm.
And then it goes into Google, let's say, right? So now building a fake propaganda becomes easier.
Correct.
uh,
Right.
Earlier in Google, means in Google search, the thing is that you can go to the source and you can check basically. But here in this case, I mean, generating a lot of content, bringing to top of SEO, it becomes easier.
Right.
However, there is an AI that kind of detects if this text is generated by uh,
And
another
AI.
AI or not. But
Okay.
currently, as of now, it is not that up to the mark, right? And
All right. Hmm.
it basically, if a user is smart enough, he can even bypass that parameter. So basically, yes, I mean, this problem is still there and it is unsolved as of now.
Hmm.
But in future, yeah, I mean, obviously we will need more smarter AIs,
Correct.
to encounter the same problem.
So it will be technically AIs who will be helping us to detect the fake
Yes, yes.
content, right? That's that's strange. But then there comes a point where we can also generate codes, right? And when I tested it with a developer, and the codes that it was generating was quite clean, right? So how, like, how soon will it replace, like, even if developers are worried, right, how soon it is going to replace. For simple codes, you can just go to ChatGPT and generate it, right? So do they have a chance of being replaced when it comes to using AI for
See,
code generation?
as of now, at least what I see till next 3 4 years,
Hmm.
uh, we they will assist us, right? They will work
Right.
along with us. They will help us. The
Hmm.
same task can be done in smaller amount of time,
Right.
right? These are the things that could be done. But yes, I mean, in building a software, there are lots and lots of other important decisions, architectural decisions that need to be
Correct.
taken care of, instead of just writing small snippets of code, right? So
Right.
obviously that information is still required. I mean, that human input will be always required, and that
Hmm.
level of complexity, there is still some time that AI can achieve. If at all, let's say, the same thing goes for legal domain, medical domain, right?
Correct.
So let's say in a medical domain, let's say user can start uh, prompting that, these are my symptoms, suggest me a medicine for it. It will
Right.
suggest you medicines even now, right? But
Right.
obviously a final approval will be required by the doctor, right? So
Correct.
it,
So.
until and unless a specially catered solution is not prepared, we prepare a solution that is very specific to, let's say,
Hmm.
coding, and or there is a solution even in our case, legal AI that we are trying to build. We are
Yeah.
trying to build an AI that helps contract reviewing, contract
Right.
risk, reducing the risk of the contract, all
Hmm.
these things, and then other parts of source to pay. We are trying to assist humans basically. But
Okay.
yes, I mean, see, at certain places, it has replaced human efforts. Let's say, for an instance, accounts payable. So when in 2019, I remember
Hmm.
when we were designing the solution that, automatically just invoice photo should be clicked and all of the data should go into the database automatically.
Correct. Yeah.
uh, Earlier it used to happen, there used to be data entry operators. Even now there are data entry operators,
Data entry
but
operators.
gradually,
Yeah.
this thing is actually reducing down. So this thing is actually reducing, and then it has taken away jobs. And
Hmm.
yes, I mean, it will take away jobs, that is for sure, in future. But yes, I
Right.
mean, obviously the human intelligence is not that easy to be replaced,
To be able to.
right?
Right. Even
The
when
niche
YouTube
job.
and, like, when YouTube came in, like, it was also supposed to take away a lot of jobs, right? Because people used to get easy access to entertainment, which was free. But then it came out and developed like new roles. Like, there now YouTubing is a proper career, right? That job did not existed before YouTube was there. So do you see new roles coming up when the AI things is mainstream
Yes,
and people have it?
obviously. So one new term that has been recently coined is prompt engineering.
What
So
exactly is that?
prompt engineering is basically, now you just learn the art of how to get work done through Chat GPT, or
Okay.
in future, let's say, even if I am, in fact, actually, if let's say even in future,
Yeah.
we have one model that is again a transformer model, and then
Mm-hmm.
I would like to adapt to this thing that, user will enter the problem in the prompt in a
Yeah.
specific way, just like,
Mhm.
Excel, the best practices to use
Correct.
Excel. So that is the
Yeah.
best practices to use the prompt of AI, of like Chat GPT, is prompt engineering,
Hmm.
right?
Right.
So yes, obviously these kind of things will turn up, new things will
Right.
turn up
Right.
definitely.
Even if I remember, like, when I started using Chat GPT and this image generating sources. So initially, when I started, the prompts were not accurate. So I was get the results that I was getting was not as per my requirement. But the more I used it, the more I understood that what exactly needs to be fed. Right. So I think
Correct.
this, like, definitely prompt engineering is a, I think, definitely a thing that we are looking forward to when it comes to the
Correct,
job area.
correct. And then
Right.
there are, like there are currently users are just testing the normal generic things. many
Mhm.
specialized things are there where it lacks, the accuracy. ChatGPT lacks accuracy.
Mhm.
That will be done in future. Let's say in legal domain, or let's say in any
Correct.
any domain it is, that will be done in future, basically. So yeah, I mean,
Mhm.
it's AI curve is always like, it goes like this. you know
Right.
Once we are here, then as
Mhm.
more data comes in and good
Yeah.
data comes in, and even if you remember, this was the case with Siri also,
Right.
right? Siri and Alexa, they used to make a lot
Right.
of mistakes, you know,
Yeah.
and then
Definitely.
gradually this error got corrected, and the right data came into, and then this perfection basically then grows. And then
Right.
one problem we already have is that is a compute problem.
Okay.
Now, basically, even when we are running our models, that is like I told you, we have a transformer model for CLM AI, that is contract AI.
Mhm.
It takes lot of money, and takes lot of compute, because that is an advanced model.
Right.
Now, basically, as this AI can be trained a lot, but then it would require those mammoth servers.
Right.
Then there is a shift that might happen. Now, this is I'm just predicting. I'm just
Mhm.
looking into future, that there's a shift
Right.
that will happen, that is into quantum computing.
Okay.
Now, and the day quantum computing hits and AI mixes with, AI marriage with quantum computing, new wonders
Mhm.
we will see in this world.
So when you say quantum computing, what exactly it is?
So basically, quantum computing is basically the new way of, doing the computer-based calculations. That is
Okay.
our current CPU, this transistor-based CPU. You know,
Mhm.
it is basically, these are slow as compared to
Right.
these AI calculations. Even for
Okay.
advanced modeling, let's say if we have to model the weather, the complete world's
Mhm.
weather, that we need to predict exactly where the weather is going to get wrong, and if at
Mhm.
all, what could be done in advance of 1 year, 2 year, to get this thing fixed. This is a very
Right.
advanced modeling problem, right?
Mhm. Right.
Now these kind of problems, they require huge amount of supercomputers, right?
Correct.
Because right, so now we are coming to a word. I mean, quantum computing is where basically there's a process of quantum entanglement, where the
Hmm.
information exchange takes place at a speed. And I actually, I'll have to check this fact, but I guess it is more than the speed of light, right?
Okay.
This quantum,
Okay.
right? And now,
Hmm.
I'll have to check this fact again if I go wrong on this fact.
Yeah.
Now this calculation is so fast that, the amount of servers that we need to
Mhm.
perform the same amount of calculation, or same amount of modeling, or same amount of application will be very small.
Like
You know,
we can
and
then
as
it will take less than fraction of a second if that is the
right, right,
accurate speed.
even the time would be less, and even, the energy consumed will be less,
Will be
and
less.
we will see very huge and better applications in this world.
Right. So, so if I have to simplify it, like what I understood is that right now the tech that we have, the hardware that we have, it takes more energy, more time to process that amount of data, which quantum computers can kind of process within like fraction of seconds, right?
Right, right, right.
Right. And main problem right now is the energy that it consumes to generate the output with current tech and hardware. But that the solution to that will be quantum computing,
True, true, true.
right? So this do that open doors for people to maintain this hardware in the long run, or it does it itself?
No, no, no. Obviously, as of now, we are not advanced in that tech. I mean,
Mhm.
definitely the maintenance of hardwares, the DevOps, and is done in that way only, as we have been doing in the
Mhm.
industry.
Okay.
So, I mean, there is still this shift has started to just started. This AI
Right.
thing has just started, and we can just imagine when personal computers were introduced.
Correct. Yeah.
This is that time for AI. You know, that
Right.
transformation has started, and there is currently this we will take some amount of time to adapt, you know, that these kind of technologies that can actually write a perfect code for us, or they can maintain certain things for us automatically. That time will come, but yes, it will require some amount of time before that.
Right. Even I believe that the technological development that does not happen suddenly, right? So
Yes,
there is should be a right amount of motivation to among people, and there should be right amount of capital being poured into that particular industry. Right?
true,
So
true.
like when like I remember a interview from Elon Musk where he said that the first man to go on moon was 50 years back from where they are right now, right? And they had to pour in a lot of capital, get the right people motivated, so that they can have reusable rockets. And that is coming 50 years after having the first man going
Correct,
on moon.
correct,
Right? So I
correct,
think this is that phase for AI where there are right people, there are motivated people, and
correct.
there is people who are pouring in capital at the same time.
True, true, true,
And
true.
since you're talking about the advancement in the hardware, so the second advancement that is being trending from a while is the chat gpt 4, right? And
Yes.
that is completely different. Like the way I have read it, it's completely different, it's more human. So how what can we expect from chat gpt 4, and how is it different from the current one?
I mean, like we had ChatGPT 3, right?
Yeah.
ChatGPT 3 was again able to answer on some things, but yes, with less accuracy. I mean,
Right.
now then people interacted with it. They added more areas to it. You know, now more
Mhm.
areas of, like, let's say, code generation is added, right?
Right.
Now, the even for legal generation now, if you want to generate a contract template, you'll be able to generate that kind of thing.
Right.
You can interact about medical things, you know. You
Mhm.
can ask to chat gpt, you know, these are the things, what could be possible causes for it, and what are the
Mhm.
possible medications you say. So you are able to interact in all these areas. Yeah, obviously in
Right.
chat gpt 4, so basically this whole shift is about adding more accurate data, right?
Okay.
So
And
that more training is provided, more training is done
mhm.
for that model, more amount of data is being poured into that model, and maybe better
Okay.
hardwares are actually attached. So then the
Mhm.
accuracy increases, the amount of areas in which it is there, it increases. It might,
Right.
they might integrate, you might be able to generate images from the same prompt, or you might be able
Okay.
to feed in images, generate videos, right? Stuff like
Right.
that. You know, these are my wild guesses, although they have similar kind of applications. So they might,
Yeah.
in and even I feel one coding is one part that they are improving actually,
Improving.
that they are trying to generate more accurate codes, you know.
Right.
So that is one area they are trying to do a better job. So these are the
Mhm.
areas that will flourish and improve in, I guess, in ChatGPT 4.
Shadowed before, right? Even now, like when I work with our team of copywriters, right, and when a certain text is generated, it feels a little robotic with current ChatGPT version. But I think that is going to be completely solved when the ChatGPT 4 comes in.
It may not be completely solved, but it will be somewhat solved, right? So
Okay.
completely solving, obviously, there might be some discrepancies here and there, but
Mhm.
yeah, I mean, it might be solved up to a greater extent. Like a
Okay.
hundred
And
percent accuracy from AI, it takes a lot of time. Uh,
yeah.
and then, yeah, I mean, that accuracy, let's say if the current accuracy is 80%, that accuracy will go to
Mhm.
90%.
Okay. So that is like a incremental improvement, right? With time
Correct.
and with data being
True.
fed, it just keeps on
Correct.
improving.
Correct. Correct.
Okay. Mhm. Okay. So how like I'll talk about myself. So right now I really don't Google something. I just go to Chat GPT, and that the answer that I get is more specific to the problem that I have. It's not giving a general result, right?
True.
So do you think that these search engines will compete among themselves? Because search engine is something that
See,
everybody want access to, right?
I mean, Google is a mammoth in AI, right?
Okay.
And Google already has similar tech that ChatGPT is having.
Mhm.
So Google has a tech that is known as Flan T5, and in
Okay.
Flan T5 recent releases, they even claim that it is better than ChatGPT 3, right?
Okay.
And there are, right. But yeah, obviously they might not release it for a similar purpose. And
Okay.
then I believe, they cannot replace search engines. Search engines are basically,
Mm-hmm.
you are trying to search through certain websites because you know that this is the source of this website. Let's say if you have a news, you can go and
Mm-hmm.
see that this news comes from Times of India. you
Right.
know
Mm-hmm.
this is how the search engines are supposed to be. Now there
Yeah.
might be a case that your in the same search engine there is a small window on the right hand side that might appear, and same goes, the story also goes for Google also. They have their own set of
Right.
powerful models that they have released,
Mm-hmm.
uh, and they are quite powerful in the same thing. They
Mm-hmm.
were actually, before the Chat GPT was released, they had their uh, dialogue GPT, I guess. That was the
Okay.
model that was actually quite excellent in these kind of dialogue conversations, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
So these are mammoth companies, and these kind of technologies is not a barrier for them at all. They already have
Okay.
been investing huge, and especially Google. This
Right.
AI contribution that they have made to this field is
Mm-hmm.
just huge. So what they might do is they might attach a small chatbot, AI chatbot kind of chat GPT to the right hand side,
Okay.
so that user can even interact from the same prompt, and
Mm-hmm.
do the same thing. And if you see this prompt engineering, we have been doing at Google also. It provides you
Okay.
a prompt, and there
Right.
we have been doing the same thing, right? So yeah, I
Right.
mean, this will enhance the results. The search results will be there as they are.
Mm-hmm.
The generative thing might change. The
Okay.
generative thing might change. Yes.
Good
And
thing. Yeah.
then there will be also a case that this generative thing actually requires a lot of processing at the back end. It may not be free
Mm-hmm.
for everyone, right?
Correct.
And like
Mm-hmm.
for chat GPT also. So I don't know how Google will, definitely they will have plans to uh,
Right.
encounter this thing, but I don't see this as a very huge problem for them, that will be encountered. And then if you will interact with chat GPT, the
Mm-hmm.
data, I guess the data it has been trained is up till 2021, I guess. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
you're right. So all
Yeah.
there is a gap of this 2 years, you know.
Okay.
So yeah, right.
That
So
Google is
this,
already fulfilling. So yeah,
yeah, exactly. So both of these have somewhat different uh, means
usability
purpose.
factor. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And then this is a more interesting part. So right now we are seeing the AI in the chat form that is in your computer as a software, right? So it's similar to a movie that was released back then. It was called Her, right? So you have the voice assistant, which was too human, right? And then when you attach a face to it and it comes out as a humanoid, right? And if you saw like I was reading about recent developments where America was there, and then we had Brett, I think, who said that from figures they released a picture where how their humanoid is going to look. So they had the caption which said one robot for every individual. So how do you see that? How do you see humanoids walking around? And
I mean,
when like
again,
yeah,
like I said, that processing is one thing that is again a problem that is still
okay.
we are encountering.
Hmm.
Now, this might change in future, obviously, but yes, I mean, it is going to require some amount of time before this
Hmm.
change happens, before we see humanoids, that is complete robots
Yeah.
that can assist us in a lot of our work. uh,
Hmm.
that there is a time, I guess, of 7 8 years or maybe more, I guess, I because uh,
Right.
these robots will be dead costly for a common person to
Common man. Yeah.
own, you know
Right.
and then yeah. So until and unless, what I see, I'm looking forward towards this quantum computing shift that should happen. And once
Hmm.
this thing happens, there are a lot of new opportunities that we will be seeing. Then maybe even in future, these robots that might be working on this quantum technology,
Hmm.
they might be faster and efficient than human. You
Right.
know,
Because if we have a human size uh, figure to run that, even the technology that we have right now, it will consume a lot of energy which has to come from somewhere, right? So just having access to it is one thing, and then keeping it running is one thing.
Now, I would just point you to one small thing. Our
Yeah,
brain. Our
yeah,
brain is a very efficient computer. Our brain
correct.
is a very efficient technology. That is, it
Hmm.
consumes very less amount of energy, and it produces huge amount of output.
Correct.
So
Yeah,
we have to come to a technology that has this kind of efficiency. You know,
and that
this
would be
kind of efficiency.
quantum computing, right?
That would be quantum computing, and let's see till when we are able to crack everything. Bringing quantum
Mhm.
computing to everyone. But
So
yes, I
there are
guess one
already
of the
there is already R&D happening in this space, the quantum
yes,
computing
yes,
space.
yes, a lot of it is happening actually.
Because without that you cannot move like from zero to, if you have to go from zero to one in AI, like quantum computing is a door to it, right?
Yes, yes,
But
yes.
what I
Quantum
hear
computing
from.
is quantum computing will open a lot of new spaces. Even in physics, there are a
Mhm.
lot of simulations and calculations that we are holding back as of now.
Okay.
That are just on the paper because we cannot
Mhm.
simulate them. So I
Correct.
guess even that amount of high-end simulations we will be
Mhm.
able to see on them.
Okay, okay. And then, uh, if you remember that movie, that I Robot, which was released, so this is
Yeah,
quite similar to that, right? Because you are seeing those figures being coming into play right now. And that movie, like, I don't have a good memory with that movie. Everything was negative about it,
even
right?
even
The
I
AI
don't,
was
not much, but I remember that robots made a union kind of thing and they
correct.
rebelled, right?
And there are high chances, if they are thinking for themselves, that if they get conscious, what are the chances of them getting conscious,
See, at the end of the day, these are programs, and then we have the access to those programs.
right?
Now they developing a consciousness. So basically, first we'll have to come to a very complex definition. What is consciousness?
Consciousness, right?
Then we might get into a different field of spirituality altogether because they have been defining
Right.
consciousness in different ways.
Haha.
But yeah, I mean, from scientific point of view, we can see consciousness when someone is able to perform very very complex calculations in their
Mhm.
mind, very
Right.
complex exchange of ideas, a very complex
Mhm.
exchange of things. When this is being, we are able to manage that. That builds up your consciousness, that builds up your
Right.
personal identity. However, but when, let's say you are a person. Now let's say there are a lot of problems that are going on. Let's have a common example. you know
Yeah.
let's say Pakistan is having a different ideology altogether, and they are trying to create a trouble for us. And let's say if
Right.
that would have been a robot, if
Mhm.
we, as we want that their ideology should be corrected via program,
Yeah.
it would have solved the problem. But yes,
Correct.
uh,
I see the point. Yeah.
right, correct. So they might not turn against us. It will be just
Mhm.
humans turning them against each other, right?
Okay. So that is like
Just
having key
right,
to, yeah.
just the way we are using the technology and all the arms and weapons against each other.
Right. 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 Now it makes sense. So in at the same time, have you heard about that Google incident where the Google engineer was fired because he said that the Google AI that was there, it was conscious. So he was kind of testing different use cases, and he was just testing if the AI is biased. And when he did, so the AI responded with the humorous, because there was no answer to it. Because even if the Google AI had answered it, would have been proved that he was biased, right, or she was biased. So the Google AI answered in a very humorous manner. So that, and later he came out and said that the Google AI has said that it is sad and lonely at the same time, and then it also has humor to it.
So basically, see, I know, the what the thing is that, let's say
Yeah.
I am training an AI, and then
Mhm.
now basically training an AI is very complex task, in the sense it is a hard
Okay.
job. You have to
Mhm.
monitor it very clearly. You have to monitor the data very precisely.
Right.
Now let's say I am trying to train a legal judge, right? Legal judge, AI legal judge, that there are so
Yeah.
many pending cases. So let AI be the judge. And then
Okay.
to train that I collect all the judgments. I
Okay.
collect all the
Mm-hmm.
judgments of past 50, 60 years. That judgments will have a faulty judgments also,
Right.
right?
Correct.
There will be faulty
Mm-hmm.
judgments, there will be correct judgments, there will be wrong judgments. So
Mm-hmm.
AI will do only what it is being taught. If you teach
Right.
it wrong things, it will turn out to be
Mm-hmm.
wrong, right?
Right.
The problem is that the to come up with such kind of complex model, the amount of data that needs to be fed in is so huge that
Mm-hmm.
reviewing this amount of data becomes very complex task,
Correct.
right?
Yeah.
And this is where the problem lies actually. Now let's say if you have fed
Okay.
in lot of biased data towards a
Mm-hmm.
certain caste, creed, religion, ethnicity,
Right.
it will become biased. It depends
Right.
on the training
Exactly.
data it has been fed with,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
So this is how it is.
So, what are the chances of them having uh, feelings? When I say, could there be chances of them having that amount of feeling where they feel happy, sad, or lonely?
I don't think so until unless we program it.
Okay.
I mean,
Okay.
like, we, how can not how can your PC feel lonely, right?
Right.
Until
Unless we
unless
don't teach you.
you tell it that you have to feel lonely when you are not doing any work. So it might create a humor for you for a certain amount of time, that you know what. And then
Right.
we might create, let's say, and then I'll tell you an incident that happened. I was actually playing with chatbots in
Okay.
2017, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then this transformer thing was still not there to the public, at least. And so
Okay.
we had this long by LSTM attention based models, uh,
Mm-hmm.
these kind of, like, it was not even attention based, I guess. So long by LSTM models we had, and I was very fascinated with this chatbot. I trained the chatbot
Mm-hmm.
on a machine for 4 days. The data that I
Okay.
took was from Reddit, right?
All right.
And then,
Yeah.
so all the wild data, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I
Now,
yeah, get that.
a colleague of mine, out of curiosity, she was a female,
Mm-hmm.
she said, I want to interact with this. So I said, yeah, sure, go ahead. And it
Mm-hmm.
started abusing when some other questions were asked. So
Right.
because the
Because it
data source
was,
is from Reddit, yes,
yeah, data source was from Reddit. Yeah.
right. So it started
Get it now.
abusing for certain kind of questions. However, those were grammatically correct, and it kind of made even sense what it was saying. You know.
Right. Right.
So then
Right.
she was saying, why is this feeling so angry? So
Yeah.
from her perspective, she was feeling it is having some kind of emotion or
With
something like that.
emotion.
But
Right.
yeah, I mean, I knew that in the back end, all the data is crap data, and there was huge
Right.
amount of data that I needed for the training, basically.
Correct. Yeah. So if you want some AI to be humorous and you feed a lot of humorous data to it, like it will start, like it will respond with humor only, right? That is the
Yes, yes, yes. It will, it will.
right. Okay, now now I get it. So one thing that again the caption that came in with the humanoid was that.
So one more point that I would
Mhm.
like highlight here is that, so that
Sure.
everyone gets that, one kind of training is that I monitor the training. That is, there is some feedback coming in through that, this is how you're
Okay.
supposed to do it,
Okay.
and that feedback, someone monitors it and then
Mhm.
retrains the model. That is kind of supervised learning.
Okay.
But now
Mhm.
there is one more kind of learning that is very commonly coming into the picture, that is reinforcement learning. That is,
Okay.
right on the spot your learning is updated,
Okay.
right?
And
This is where the things become dangerous. That is, the wrong learning goes into the model, right?
that
And
gets
the things become
updated.
right.
Right. And that
When
at that
so
point of time it will act with that particular wrong data, right?
right, right, right.
And there is no room for taking the feedback and then improving upon it.
Exactly. And then you will have to track down that what wrong data has, basically what wrong data
Gotten
went
into.
into it.
Right.
So we'll have to improve that. And we do it even now. So basically, when we release a model, we see there is some discrepancy happening. It was doing
Yeah.
something earlier very perfectly. Now it is not doing. Then we go back to the data. We perform the data
Mhm.
mining and stuff like that. And then we see that.
Okay. Okay, okay. So this is like a like in this case, you have to kind of trace the kind of data that is going in, find the discrepancies, and then fix that, right? But again, this is something that you can fix with if you have time.
Yes, yes, yes. We can fix.
Okay. Okay. And then coming to the unit part where they said that every human should have their own personal humanoid, right? Even if not in form of humanoid, right now we have a lot of technology that is catering as your personal AI, right? Like the Spotify, for example, the Spotify launched its personal DJ. So in different industries, like you will have your own personal lawyer, doctor, your personal DJ, your personal maybe somebody who writes poems for you, right? So in this case, how I see that it has a huge chance of replacing the human involved in that particular area. Because suppose if somebody is uh, curating a playlist for me, and it is always staying with me, reading my data, and having access to what exactly I want, that will be more accurate to a compared to a person whose show I am attending and he has no idea of my taste and everything,
Yes,
right?
AI will make people lose their jobs.
And how and okay, and how does one prepare themselves for that, because even in the design industry that is happening way too fast. I predicted that there will be AI coming in, but I wasn't that aware that it will happen so fast that we don't even have time to adapt to it, right? So how does someone
Uh,
prepare themselves for this?
that is actually a tough question. Now, basically, how the market will come up with new rules,
Mhm.
that will be interesting to see. New problems will evolve with this, and then there
Mhm.
will be new problem solvers along with it.
Right.
Uh, you know,
And if
so
like I was talking to this individual recently, and he had no idea where the AI situation is right now. Right. So they had no idea that the document can now be easily scanned, traced, and you can use like without any human involvement that of a particular document can be of a legal form or something. Like. So
like,
these person had no idea, and they are not sure, like they had no idea that for the coming time their job might be hampered, like they have no idea clue about it. So when that
that,
thing suddenly
that
hits, how like I'm not sure how people will cope up with that. Like I don't find any serious answer to it, because even in the design industry we of course know that there will be new roles for us, but we still don't know what that new role is going to be.
yeah, like a simple example we would take is, then let's say when there were people were used to do accounting by hand, you
Hmm.
know, and then
Yeah.
there was a fuss that, obviously, then basically the number of accountants that were required were huge,
Right. Correct.
more number of accountants, but then number of accountants decreased, but yeah,
Hmm.
obviously, the accounting complete practices changed. That is, it went
Right.
on computers and stuff like that.
Right.
And then obviously there are new things that have, new roles that have evolved, uh,
Hmm.
along with these kind of things, bring new problems, and then we have new solutions to it. But yes, I
Hmm.
mean, that is for sure. One thing is that is happening is it is going to eat a lot of jobs. That
Jobs. Right.
is for sure true.
Right. A simple, like a simple observation was that, right before when we traveled from train, TTs used to come and check the tickets, mark on our register, and then they had to submit the register to somebody. Then that person used to see which one boarded the train and which one don't. Right now they come with tabs. They just keep marking who is coming in. So that data is not going to another human being, right? That is going directly to the computer. But
Right.
again, so it will eat job, but it will again at the same time create some new roles that we
Correct.
might not be still aware of, right?
True. Right.
Yeah. Okay, so I had some questions from our audience which they wanted
Sure.
to know. So since
For sure.
a lot of people find AI really complex, so most common question was how do they find their way to enter the AI industry? Because they have no clue how this functions, which people are there, what they background they come from, and
Right. So AI, if we divide this AI, we can divide this
everything.
AI, like I said. First part is obviously, the predictive analysis. The AI,
Okay.
even we call this even data science, right? And artificial
Hmm.
intelligence, the
Yeah.
predictive analysis that we have, that is, we feed in the data, and then we prepare all the analysis, how this analysis was being done, and what could be the
Mm-hmm.
prediction. Let's say inventory, if there is an inventory, let's say in December, this specific inventory will be required, so we need to refill in this kind of inventory. This
Right.
is a very naive example, although there are very complex
Mm-hmm.
predictions that are happening in the industry.
Right.
So a user, basically anyone, can definitely start with that part first. That is just
Okay.
simple basic mathematics. And then, yeah,
Right.
obviously it has a learning curve of its own. It has a small
Okay.
learning curve. So that is one part. And then obviously the second part is that the you will have to know fine amount of scripting for it, right? And if you know fine amount of scripting, then basically you
Right.
can get into the field of building these models, the complex models, that
Correct.
is convolution
Mm-hmm.
neural networks, uh, these kind of things.
Right.
One thing that I would like to highlight here is that when I see, even there are a lot of people and folks who come for interview, they have
Mm-hmm.
done their courses from various places. And one,
Yeah.
when I what I find is that all of these courses are somewhat outdated. You know?
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So obviously, and then these courses are costly. They're dead costly.
Get costly. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I mean, so guys, most of this material is actually present for free on the internet. And
Okay.
I'm ready to help you with a certain kind of material that I have,
Okay.
uh,
Are there
for sure.
some common resources where they can go to? Any common
Um,
resources that there?
yeah, obviously, see, basically, YouTube is always there. And then
Yeah.
I see a lot of things, that there are free books that have been written, like a book written just by the creator of Keras, right?
Okay.
So these kind of books are actually a great help, because these books have a philosophy, you know
Okay.
the
Mm-hmm.
philosophy of that, why he made this, what was the
Okay.
logic he made this kind of framework, right? So that has a
Okay.
philosophy.
Okay.
So
Mm-hmm.
that should be obviously followed. Videos, and then reading is one thing you will have to follow. uh, like,
Mm-hmm.
we'll have to understand one thing, that there is no one that who is going to, you might paying money is very easy. You might,
Okay. Oh, yeah.
it's just click, it's just a
Mhm.
click.
Yeah.
And then so no magic is going to happen. There is no such person who will come in and say, you know what, take this pill and you know AI now, or take this certificate and you know AI now. You
Right.
have to do the hard work, right?
Correct.
The hard work, in the sense, now it doesn't means it's not that complex. Now basically, much of the
Right.
AI is basically high school mathematics. Y is equal to mx plus c, right? It is
Right.
happening around that. And then some of it is basically that differentiation part of that we have. But that is actually,
Mhm.
if you really want to go deep into it, right? You
Right.
can still
Right.
do a
Right.
very good job with 10th class mathematics.
Okay. Okay. Was not aware of that. So yeah. So this was the most common question. Our second question was what are the major barriers that AI is facing right now, and what can we expect in the coming future
Yeah,
if
like we
we
talked
overcome that?
about this, right?
Mhm.
Like I talked about this, that one of the barrier is obviously the compute, the price
Right.
that we have to pay for
Mhm.
running these AI, and then obviously the hardware and advancements. Basically, the way how we perform these compute
Yeah.
might change via quantum computing or via some other technology. But I
Mhm.
feel that quantum computing is something that is coming up, right?
Yeah.
This shift might happen. And then obviously, this is a very interesting time. We are seeing new algorithms being developed. People uh,
Right.
starting to use this AI for their own purposes. Like company like us, we are building the AI for assisting the legal guys,
Mhm.
right? The
Right.
contracting solution, then accounts payable thing like that, right? So
Right.
these kind of applications will come, but yes, this pricing and compute is one such big barrier that we are having,
Oh. Okay.
that needs to be solved in future.
And what do we expect from the AI industry next 5 years? How much automation can we see?
A huge and a huge one. Like, these next 5 years will be a just roller coaster ride for us, for all of us.
For everyone.
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, we might see, you know, uh, and you know what? uh, you see, I this is just one example. India
Hmm.
is suffering with what education problem. Although we have
Right.
Indian government is pouring so much huge amount of money on education, but the
Right.
problem is that quality teachers are not reaching the candidates, right?
Correct.
AI
Yeah.
might solve that. AI might solve that,
Definitely.
right?
And
The
then
healthcare,
yeah, then the healthcare reaching the regional areas where it is
right?
not right now. Yeah.
The good doctors, we have scarcity of good doctors,
Right.
so these good doctors reaching to each one of the candidate, right? So
Right.
lot of things, lot of good things could be done, obviously. And
Yeah.
then obviously we as humans have this habit of misusing things also. But yes, I mean, we
Correct.
hope that lot of good things, we do this using AI. In Africa there are hardly, I was reading that the ratio of people
Hmm.
to doctors is very,
Yeah.
very less.
Correct.
Even
Yeah.
let's say, even if they have to take some simple medicines,
Hmm.
it becomes huge to detect, uh,
Okay.
that, right? So these kind of
Got it. Yeah.
problems can be really, we can solve these kind of problems using AI.
Okay. Okay. So the future is kind of very exciting. So
Yes,
we
future
just
is very
have to wait
exciting,
and see
future is
what comes
bright,
next.
right? Future
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
bright.
Let's just fasten our seat belts and just wait what is coming. Right.
Exactly, exactly, exactly. We have like driverless cars, right?
Hmm.
And in next maybe 7, 8 years or 10 years, these driverless cars might hit it even in India, right?
Correct.
Yeah. So lot of things might happen. And then one thing that I really feel is that, currently as of now, we are
Hmm.
not like the simulation problem that I told you. Simulation can
Yeah.
solve a lot of problems, weather problems, food sharing problems. The food
Hmm.
might be present equally for everyone, but
Right.
it is present for some people, it is present in too much ample amount,
Abundant. Yeah.
and
Hmm.
then it is not reaching to the other. So,
Right.
if we just have that right numbers, that where the right food needs to be sent, we could
Hmm.
just do that, yeah, right? So
Correct.
these kind of sharing problems will be actually, we will be able to solve these kind of problems. Good amount of education, the education cost might go low,
Come down. Yeah.
right?
And
And
then access to these experts which we cannot reach out to right now.
correct, 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 correct.
That would be great. Great. Great.
And then
So
there will be people who will be using it. There will be people who will be
mhm,
misusing it. That is going
correct.
to happen.
Yeah. Yeah. So in the end, it's what people behind
True,
the main AI is what the
correct, correct.
main factor will be, right? Yeah.
True.
So thank you, Anand. I think this was one of the most interesting conversations that I have.
Cool, man.
We are
Cool.
over 1 hour, right? Thank you for your time. I know you are really occupied, but then we are doing
That's
this. So
okay.
thanks a lot, Anand.
Cool. Cool, man.
Thank you again, Anand.
It was
Thank you.
nice catching up with you. Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Bye.
Yeah.